Hey, Pearl, how are you today? Hey, and here's Minnie. Look at the pretty flowers I just planted. What? Oh, you're right. I almost forgot. Another day of soul care.
Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome to SoulCARE on Mondays. And I look very forward to this day and sharing some time with you. And let's see what's going on with everybody and share what's been going on. Stacy, you're always the first one. Bless your heart. Hi, Lisa C. On Friday night, it was a wonderful event over at Seaside Center in Encinitas, and we had a lovely time. About 500 people, and great messages came through. Hi, Sue. Hi, Lynn. Jenny, Dennis, Val. Hey, Val, how are you? These are not my usual glasses. These are readers, and I couldn't find my regular glasses because if you don't have your glasses to find your glasses, it doesn't work. I just noticed that. So I'll do the best I can without squinting. Hi, Nancy Conley. Hello. Mary Jo and Teresa T. Everybody that comes on, if you can get a piece of paper and a pen, that'd be great. I'm going to give you some books titles. Miranda, Karen, Susan, hi. Deborah, hi. You have a list of books on Facebook. Oh, good. I was going to go over those. So I have a list of books for a Friday night. Monday. Last Monday, Kelly White and I did both sides down to the favorite books that we have. So I'm going to give you a list. I'm going to just mention them so you can write them down if you missed our show last Monday. And that'd be great. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the UK, Val. Hi, Sally. Everyone's getting notices that we're coming on. Yes, so Val knows he was last year at the Seaside Center, and it was great. It was very different than last year when I was laughing with Gordon Smith, but it was very sacred, and it was a wonderful, really wonderful night of readings of messages. One in particular that I think everyone loved was, they were also very different. And one was about a lovely man in the back. His girlfriend came, or his fiance came during the intermission. I was in the back refreshing, just sitting. And she said, my fiance's in the audience, and he's wearing my bracelet, and he had to get a new link for it because it didn't fit him. And I died, and she told me all those different things. And I went out, and the first message was for him. And this man, all the way in the very back of the room, stood up. And it's always very, it's interesting because, hi, Margentina. Hi, Marlo. Linda, how are you? Really? It's always difficult when you do a demonstration, in a way, because the human part's got to step back, and you have to realize that spirit will never be wrong. They're always like, they're there. They show up, but do we show up as a human vessel? So I had to, when you look around a room of 500 people and no one puts their hands up, you got to say, well, I've got to stay with this because I know what I'm getting from the spirit world. So there's a man here whose girlfriend or fiance passed over, partner passed over, and she's here, and you have her bracelet. And that was all the information given. And you have to wait until someone claims it because you know what you're getting. And sure enough, I had that just half a second where is no one getting this? What's that? And many times I find out people don't want to stand up in public. So that's another whole thing. And I think it just upsets me because we work so hard from the spirit world and to create the conditions for the communication to take place. And the person in the spirit world can be very regretful that their loved one, they've tried so hard to get them to this space here to see this medium at this particular time, that there were many strings from their side of life, and the person in the audience doesn't respond. It's very disheartening for that spirit. It really is. So I try telling my audience that. And but you do feel as you work as a medium that when the information makes sense and it's sits for the right recipient, or when it doesn't feel right. And when they're trying to pull and make it theirs, and then I will stop them right away and say, this is not your information and it doesn't feel right for you. Okay. And then you find the right person. But anyway, there was a wonderful, loving message from this man's girlfriend. And it was, she talked about the bracelet. They talked about, they always thought about having a boy. And sorry, she had to leave him. Her hair was cut, and the family has a piece of her hair, and she wants him to have some of that. It was all just wonderful. Talks about going to the beach and things they used to do, and then she said something which always happens often, not all the time, but often, that the spirit many times of a partner will come through, and they will say, "Hi, Mijan from Switzerland." it will come through that the loved one in the spirit world is trying to find love for the loved one on the earth. And she said to him, would you mind, would you be open to me finding you love? And without hesitating, he said, yes, I'm open. So that's going to happen. And she said, you're going to get married in Hawaii, and you will have that boy we discussed, but it'll be with someone else. But I'll be there helping. So it was great. It was just wonderful. So it came off that Friday, and it was just great. So anyway, I think everyone's come on now. Hello from Maine. Hello, Palmer. Hello, Lynn. How are you? Yeah. Oh, he was your brother. There you go. Oh, thank you. Wow. Okay. So Crystal Burgess. Oh, Crystal, it was your brother. It was my brother. I was sitting with family. Did you get your bracelet? I did get my bracelet, Crystal. Thank you. But that was interesting. And the information came through via a bracelet from his girlfriend. Isn't that interesting? Wow. Well, here we go. That's great, isn't it? When you're open up to the magic of the world. That's great. So there we are. So Crystal her brother was a recipient of that. And Crystal, I think you helped get him there. So that's fantastic. Hello from Germany. Hello from Switzerland. Hello, Portland, Oregon, from Connecticut. So yeah, Crystal, that helped many people in that. And everyone loved that message. So thank you for bringing him, because you did a good job. I know she's thrilled with what happened. So thank you on behalf of her. And she loves you. She just cares for you. Thank you for doing that for her too. And I think you saved, helped your brother. But your brother Dean had a very good attitude, I must say. Hello, Santa Barbara. Hello there, Deborah. 2 books, good. So I thought I would do a couple of things. Number one, I thought I'd first mention the books that Kelly White and I talked about last Monday, just to go over those again. If you missed the show, I thought I would mention the list of books now, and you can write them down if one speaks to you. That'd be great. So this is from my list. We have Choosing Happiness, Life and Soul Essentials by Stephen Dowrick, Dowrick. Next one is Out on a Limb by Shirley MacLaine. This might be out of print. I'm not sure. On the Edge of the Etheric by Arthur Finley. On the Edge of the Etheric. Then All White Eagle books. You can go online and get them on Amazon. Also the Birch books. They might be highly priced because they're limited, so you'll have to look on that, but they're worth it. Lectures on Ancient Philosophy by Manly P. Hall. It's a Bible. My Bible. If you're interested in mediumship, this is Spiritualism by Morris Barbanel. Very important book, Life in the World Unseen by Anthony Borgia. Life in the World Unseen by Anthony Borgia. More in Life in the World Unseen by Anthony Borgia. And a very important one, a really classic, You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought by Peter Williams. John Roger and Peter Williams. And of course, all Edgar Cayce books, I would suggest. Okay. And then Kelly's list, some of them I'll point out, some of them, not all of them here. The Game of Life by Florence Shinn. The Discovering Your Soul's Purpose by Mark Thurston. Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, Power of Now, excellent. She recommended Talk to Heaven, my book. I agree. How to Heal a Grieving Heart by myself as well. Anything by Dr. Michael Newton, Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, excellent series. Animal Speaks by Ted Andrews. On Death and Dying by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And there are more on this. So this is on our, if you want to go on to the Both Sides Now YouTube channel, we have the list right there for you if you also want to go there and see it. There you go. Okay, thank you, Renee. Renee put the Facebook page up. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate that. So now I'm going to open up the floor to general questions. You can ask me if you'd like, except for readings. I'm not doing readings right now, but I can ask general questions if you'd like. So if you have a question for me, you can please put that up, and I'd be more than happy to answer it if I can. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Alice Busk, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Stages of Grief. It's called On Death and Dying by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. On Death and Dying. And also I wrote a book, which I'm going to recommend. It's called Healing Grief, which is an excellent book on grief and the steps of grief and healing grief and what the different things to experience during grief, and not just death grief, but grief throughout life, whether you move to a new house or changing cities or empty nest syndrome or divorce, or it's a good book. It's a really solid book, Healing Grief. I think it's one of the best books on grief therapy. I must say so myself. You're very welcome, Lizzie. You're very welcome. Question. If you have a question, let me know. Here's one. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see or feel? Oh, thank you, Julie. Okay. Hello, James. I was wondering, what does it mean if two yellow butterflies fly next to you and stay there for a few seconds? Does that mean anything? Well, I could say yes, and I could say no, but the spirit world is able to influence, if you will, or work in connection with, I don't know till I pass over, the animal kingdom and birds, butterflies. And I believe that if they are out of their pattern or they stay with you for a few moments and they stay there for a while, it's definitely a spirit person giving you a message and a sign. And my sister had that experience back in visiting my father's house in Queens, New York, sitting on the steps where after mother died, and she sat in the steps in front of the house, and a butterfly landed right next to her, and she thought maybe it's my mom. And she walked in the house, and the butterfly followed her in the house. And then she literally walked outside into the garage, in the back of the garage, to see about what was in the garage, bicycles or whatever. And the butterfly followed her in there. And pretty sure it was her. So when that happens to you, just stop for a moment and open up your mind and ask, who is it here? Who is here? And what is the message? It's goodbye. Very good, Julie. Okay. Hi, Maria. Do spirits always come if we want to speak with them? Maria, it's more, are we open to hearing from them? Do we prepare our mind, the space in the mind fields, to let them in and hear them? If we sit there and saying, come to me, come to me, come to me, you're putting up walls. They'll never come. It's really hard for them to come because the conditions are such that you have to have a neutral space, an opening for them to come in, for that wavelength to come in, a place for the wavelength to sit. And if you're over there corroding that space with thoughts about come to me, you're going to block the waves from coming in. So an open mind is really important, and they're always around us. But are we prepared to open up and take the time to listen? Can we listen? Is a more accurate way would be, how can I listen to them? How can I hear them? And that is by having a still mind and not forcing it. Hi, Christy. How did you cope with loved ones in your life when you started getting communications of spirit and your loved ones didn't think the same? I'm feeling a little alone, and all the connections I've been making when my husband doesn't believe in it. Well, Christy, number one, it helped with sitting in development and sitting the stillness for 7 years. I sat in the quiet, sitting in the stillness and building up that sensory self, the energetic self, the light body in many ways. We're talking about that. It's building up that your soul self in the development. That's really important because you get a strong sense of grounding and you get a strong sense of knowing who you are. And if you know your own truth and you know who you are, it doesn't matter what other people think of you, whether your partner, whether your family, has nothing to do with them. It's about you and your truth. And you don't need them. You don't need them to believe in you to do the work. But if you do open yourself up to, oh my God, I care what they say, then you're not living a true life. You're living their life, not your life. So that's the first thing you have to stop doing, is living someone else's life and getting more in tune with who you are and getting to know yourself more. So that's why I know you need more development, because you don't believe in yourself enough yet. You still care what other people think. So anytime you are doing that, and then let's say, and I go back to clients who have a great experience with the work that comes in, the messages. And they say, oh my gosh, I got to go home and tell my husband about this. He'll love this. He'll believe in it. He'll believe in it. And he might not. And all you can do is you can't get involved with his belief system. You can give the seeds and spread the seeds and just say, you know what, this is what experience I had. And here it was. And whether he believes or not doesn't matter to you, but you've given the most you can. And that's how that works. Okay, good luck, sweetheart. Back to development, sitting in quiet. Hi, Nancy. Can you channel spirit through music? I think that music is channeled. I think the spirit world, their world on the other side of life, or another side of this spectrum here, influences us as mediums, and everyone is a medium to some degree or another. Everyone is a medium for a certain channel, if you will. And there are those of the channel of being inspired, impressed with the sounds, melodies of spirit. So yes, indeed you can. Every great composer that lived here, every great song there is inspired by the spirit world. It's just messages from spirit. Every great piece of art, every book that's written, everything that's created down here has first been created on the other side of life. So it first creates there, and the last place it ends up is down here in the physical. Because remember, everything is thought, and they live in a very mental world and a thought world. So they create it with their thoughts and create the best they possibly can, and to bring it down to the earth levels. It's very interesting because in the earth levels, depending on the consciousness, awareness, let's say, of the earth participants, they will either take it purely or they will garbage it up. They'll stain it up. They'll put their own egos and own bias and judgments on it instead of letting it be pure. I think some of the purest music are the classics. I really do. Mozart, Beethoven, Liszt, who I had a past life with, and I think that was pure channeling in those days of music. And now I think we can find some. There's a great song I love, a Steve Winwood song, Higher Love. I know that was so channeled. And if you listen to the lyrics of certain words, they're so spiritually inspired. You can tell they've been pure. So that's a great song for that one. But yes, indeed, yes. And all great works are. And I've had a message from Spirit saying, we lift your hands and impress you in order to write these books. So yes. The answer is yes. Hi, Connie. Do spirits barge into one's personal reading and take over trying to communicate with someone else? Yes, they do. But then it comes back to the responsibility of the medium to be able to ground themselves and discern properly and know when there's someone else jumping in. Just because someone passes over into the spirit levels, they don't necessarily learn manners. Right. And there's excitement going on because imagine when you're in a space and there are a lot of people in the spirit world who want to come and talk to someone, or usually want to talk to in a demonstration, a large amount of people. You can have that happening. And, you're only one person. So your guides help with that. That does happen. But the medium needs to work at developing themselves, their discernment to the point that they're able to discern between who they're communicating with now, what it feels like, the subtle feelings, the subtle messages, that space, and when that space changes by somebody else coming in. So it takes time. It takes time to purify that, to develop that sense. But yeah, it does happen. Okay. Hi, Mary. James, could you please share with us again what your sister Lynn shared with you about the other side? Yes. So my sister Lynn passed over in April, and she was very ill with cancer. And I was at my house here in California. She was in New York, and she came to visit me the year before because I'm going to make sure we had a connection there. And she was ill, and she went to the hospital, and I didn't think it was going to be good. And I'm in my office right now, where I am, and I was writing or doing something, and the spirit world, someone, I don't know who it was, and it felt like a multiple amount of beings came to me, and it was kind of a force. Like said, you need to leave now. You need to leave now. So I left. I got a plane, went right to New York, and it was the final days of her life. It was like a week before she passed, and I got to see her. And but before I got there, she would come to me and say to me in my head, "My goodness, I've been met by Sister Rosalie." And like, Sister Rosalie, who's that? And I remember finally it was her sister, her nun, with her Catholic camp when she was 9, 10 years old. And I remember that was her favorite nun. So isn't that interesting? So she's having experiences outside the body before she even left the body physically, which shows us that most of the souls, I've said before, the majority of the souls outside the body, 75, 80%, only 20% isn't here. So most of the soul's already out. So she came to me with her soul self and that soul awareness. And she just had to get that little bit of the physical, and that's what it really is. When death happens, physical death, it's that little remnants left over of that part of the soul embedded in the physical that leaves at the top of the head usually. So she was very funny. She had a good sense of humor, my sister, and she kept it to the day she passed because she went in and out of consciousness. And she came back once and she came back again. And she said, "Did I die yet? Geez, I must have died 3 times already. Can I go already?" So she had a really good outlook on that. And she goes, "Wow." And this would happen. And it was 8 o'clock at one night. I was there at the hospital, and that same force came around me. And I knew when I was in the bed, the hospital, I didn't see spirit. I just felt them all around. And at one point, 8 o'clock at night, this force came and said, now you need to go, leave now. You need to leave now. So I said to my other sister, I said, I have to leave now. And it was like pushing me out of the room. So that shows me that I was being used in some way to change the energy, transmute something. Not, I didn't know what, but I knew that was important. So and she died 2 days later. And she said to me, and I saw an image of her leaving the body in California, an image of that experience. And it was very much like a Viking funeral. That was what I got. And there was bluish, steel white blue color. And these beings were in this white blue forms. And they were carrying her looked like on their shoulder. And they had crowns or headwear. And it was very much like I thought Viking funeral. That's what it was like. And she said to me, "Oh, James, I'm so happy to be out of this world. I don't want to come back there again. I don't want to go there. It's not going to be great there." And she said, "You guys got to get out of there." And I'm like, "Well, how do we get out of there?" But so that's what she said. And she said, "I don't want to come back." And she said, "Over here, I can learn much more. We're one of many spaces and worlds." And it goes to that lovely saying by my friend Mavis, who passed on, we're worlds within worlds within worlds. So all these different worlds that exist, and we can be part of that one, experience that one, and we go and we learn. Right now, she's taking courses. She's gone back to school to study, she told me. So she's learning about self-development, and she wants to really help other women. So that's what last I heard from her last week. There you go, Mary. I hope that helps. Hi, Maria. Is it possible to tap into your psychic ability with gifts with unhealed trauma? Well, okay. So let's put this in the proper framework here. So if you haven't dealt with your trauma, it's unresolved. It's going to influence your intuition in that it won't be as pure, right? It won't be as clear. So it's as if you're going to have a party in a house, and the living room is all dirty, right? Or the place of the party is dirty, it's filthy. So how can people have a pure good time when there's other things they're looking at and it's disturbed and it's not open? So look at it that way. So it's going to be influenced by that trauma. And how can you help or get a clear choice, the right choice for you intuitively, if you have that influence of trauma next to you? So you're looking at it through those lens of trauma. So I also talked about this last week, where you have people that you worry about and you take on their problems, and that energy kind of blinds you. So when you make choices in your life, you're looking at it through their worry, through those lenses, those are the people that you're holding on to. So that's why it's very important to let go of other people's energy, not carry other people's energy, and also to heal yourself through trauma. So unhealed trauma should really be looked at, because there might be a great opportunity for forgiveness there. Yeah. And there might be some great opportunities to go from fear to love, to learn about unconditional love. So I always say there's always opportunities. Every day we have opportunities to learn and grow. And they might come to us in different guise. They might come to us in different way, different signs, different experiences, which we might perceive at first that might be negative or fearful, or how can I do this? How can I forgive this person? Or how can I do this? And it's really the greatest way to learn, expand, and open up. If we go through it, we learn a whole new sense of who we are and our place in the world around us and those in the world around us. So it does help to resolve the trauma. I would do that first before I really go and get my intuition developed. First develop again, goes back to honoring who you are as a soul and cleaning that stuff out before you're able to go in the purity of yourself. Good question. Diane, hi Diane. It is hard to hear or know our loved ones are reaching out when we are in a difficult space ourselves. Very true, Diane. Very true. James, you are an inspiration. I'm very intuitive and very naive, and also very naive. Well, you wouldn't be here learning if you think you knew everything, right? I think right picking for the wrong kind of spirits and people to be drawn to. I was easily used. I thought I was so strong, and I was stupid. I'm divorcing a verbally and emotionally abusive marriage after 40 years. Good, you got it. Okay. Too long to wake up. No, there's no time, darling. What can I do to be more alert, or for lack of words, the devil's influence? Devil and influence. First of all, there's no devil. There's no evil. So get that out of your head, right? Or badness. Someone who is so good at pretending to be good, be nice, who really aren't. So it sounds like a real narcissist or a sociopath. So the personality disorder, that's really what it is. So learning about personality disorders, and as sensitive people, empaths that we all are here on this page here right now, that there'll be a tendency many times for a healer, empath, to bring in those beings because you want to heal them. You want to heal that personality. And then the longer you're with them, they start making their effect known, especially those secretive sociopathic ways of getting to you. So again, going back then, the more you know yourself, the more you sit in that quiet, the more you sit in the stillness of your being, the better you'll know, the better you'll be at it. So that's really what's very more important, I'd say. Okay. Jane Brown. Hi, Jane. I am being guided to work with the dying. I am being guided to work with the dying. I believe we're all healers, but I feel I am being sent to help them cross over, not heal them. Do you think this is the case? So by helping them over, isn't that healing them? Not two separate things. It's one-on-one. So an end-of-life doula is an incredible being who's a healer, who helps those beings to heal. That's head mindset and space before they leave the body. And that's great work. It's great work. So think of the compassion. We get help coming into the world. What about leaving the world, right? We need to have some people, some beings. I talked this past week to a lovely lady who helped people in the death and dying, who was a nurse. Greatest work there is. It's greatest work to help people who are in fear, to take their fear away and to help them be compassionate and bring compassion to them at the end of their lives. That's fantastic. Yep. So you send them over, you heal them. Dawn, do souls know when we are grieving them? Dawn, think of yourself as this, that you are, as a soul, around you is your mind, right? This is mind. Mostly you're up here. So all of your mental thoughts, mental awareness, all that is like, beep, 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 beep. And spirit is on a mental level. So they receive your thoughts like that, quicker than the physical. So they get your thoughts. So they know, of course, in your mindset, what you're thinking of. They know exactly what you're thinking of all the time. That's because you're on the mental vibration. Thought is mental. So they pick up your mental vibration all the time. They also know what's around you, what's going on with you, not only through mental thought, but they can see your auric fields, the colors around you. And by seeing the colors around you, they can tell you the degree of worry, emotion level, mental level, spiritual level. They can tell you these things. They can also remind you, or if they're allowed to let you know what's going to happen in the future, they will tell you those things. So yeah, they very much so. Okay. Now let me just go down here. Okay, a lot of people commenting, which I love. Elizabeth, James, thank you for being here. Why do we resist meditation, the necessary time for development? Well, I think because, and a great question, Elizabeth, and I'm pushing it. I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it because it's so important. The most important part of my development, not only in my development for a medium, but in life, was sitting in meditation. And sitting in that stillness was so vital because you get to know who you are as a soul. And we have a hard time because I think in the society right now, everything is so fast with social media and great stuff going on. It's so fast, so quick that we don't give ourselves the time to set aside to be still. And it's so interesting because if you're always in the water swimming and waves are cracking, you can't get a strong sense of what's going on, and you can't make the right choices based on truth. You get them in fear, or that phonetic energy, you get caught up in someone else's energy, and you go. And it's stop and take a breath. That's really what it is. It's stop and take a breath. And I cannot emphasize the importance of sitting in the quiet. So I developed, as you know, and if you haven't seen it, I'll play the film so soon. But the meditation that I developed, this meditation course, is a brand new one, which I believe that it goes back to right now. It's the Thursday. It goes back to August 2nd. August 2nd, it goes to the high price of $200. High price, low price, or more. I don't remember, but they're on a special right now until August 2nd. And it's important. I'm not forcing anyone to take the course. I'm just presenting that as a tool because I, for years, wanted to have people sit in the stillness. I want to share what I went through, and this was the best way. So have a look at this, and if you haven't seen it before.
Every time you sit and practice, you'll discover something new, whether it's about yourself, the world we live in, and the choices that you make, and the people in your life. So be open to anything that happens and everything that happens. Through meditation and sitting in the stillness, you're going to have a new sense of awareness of who you truly are as a soul living on this earth. This is work of the heart. We're going to learn to live from heart forward, and that's what this is about. It's not work. It's beauty. It's fun. It's amusement. It's love. It's feeding your soul. This is all about you. It's your own practice. This meditation process and this practice will change your life. You are no longer living in limitations and fear. You are able to express who you truly are. You will change not only yourself, but the world.
It's good. It's worth it. And that last sentence that I wrote there, trying to change yourself, but the world. And I want to emphasize that because when you're in a space of vibration, of love, of centeredness, that emanates in your auric fields, that influences the fields around you. And when you interact with people every day, they'll feel that influence. They'll feel your balance. They'll feel that authenticity. They'll feel, wow, that person feels so good because you know yourself better. And you're not in your head, you're in your heart. When you sit in the stillness, it brings you to your heart space. And that's where the soul resides. So the more you know yourself in your heart, the easier life becomes because you see things from a bigger perspective, and your choices are you're more aware of the bigger universal truth than just individual truth. You become also more aware of other people in your space. As I told a friend of mine this morning, every day in your life, I've told these guys before, every day in your life, you have a student or a teacher that presents themselves every day. And it might be something you never expect to be your teacher, but it really does happen. So I hope you'll join me. And August 2nd, it goes the other price. So do that next couple of days, Bryce. Okay. Queen, and there's, okay, Rebecca. James, do you have any advice for me as a medium? Oh, I just speak and no one hears me. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned about the aura. I'm also a paranormal investigator. Oh, God. And a spirit today communicated with me about the aura, and there's that big sense aura. So, Rebecca, sit in the development. You need development. You need to get more developed. You're not developed yet. You're more in the psychic than the mediumship. That's my advice. And I don't mean to sound strong about it, but it's such a thing with me, with integrity about that. Here's Queen L12 Jax. Just when I thought I'd be done, my work was done, right? I'd done my work. I find myself hurt and angry at how my deceased parents failed me. Do they know how I'm feeling from the side? Of course they know how you're feeling from the side. And I'm sure they wish you would take care of that. I'm sure they're very upset about what they did as a human, or that they didn't do as a human. And this comes up all the time. Came up last Friday with people that, you have to forgive them. Okay. Because the anger and the hurt and not forgiving hurts your own self. And you don't want to hurt yourself. You want to heal yourself. You want to take the higher road, see the bigger picture. Maybe they were limited in their way. They didn't know any better. And unfortunately, that's how they acted out. So you have to find that empathy within yourself, realize they weren't at a certain level that they might have been. But again, we come here, sweetheart, but we pick families of souls that we learn from and that teach us things. And they might teach about forgiveness now. And forgiveness opens up your life when you start forgiving others. So I want you to start looking at that. Stop holding on to that negative blocking energy and open yourself up for that loving energy. And don't hold on to the ego thing of, oh, they did this. Maybe they didn't know any better. Be higher than them. Teach them about love and forgiveness and compassion. Okay, sweetheart. Tracy, hi. Hello, James. Just can't seem to surrender. How do you truly surrender? By taking this meditation course, you learn to surrender because it teaches you to sit in the silence, the stillness. And I go, every single lesson is all about surrender. There's steps I teach you. And so it's working with the breath. And I teach you getting out of I have a whole lesson on the monkey mind, those little thoughts that come in your head, and how to get rid of those or how to not make them so important. And it's a matter of patience, stillness, and keep on moving along. So it's a great beginning. So that would help you quite a bit, sitting in the stillness and surrendering to what's going on. Surrendering, sitting in the softness of your being. So like I use the analogy, you want a spirit to give you a message. Well, if you sit here and you go after it like that, like a feather coming from the sky, and you go after it, well, you push it out of the way with that snatch and grab. But if you open up your palm, it has a better chance of gently landing on your palm. So it's surrendering to this space. It's getting to the softness and to the activism. It's a passive being. You're passive, but you're very aware of what's going on. And it's very interesting because when you're in passive state, when you're at surrendered passive state, you're more in control of everything going on around you. It sounds like an oxymoron, but it's true. You're around where everything going around you. So it's very true. Okay. Hi, Cheryl. What can you tell us about the rainbow tribes and extraterrestrial existence help us with world peace? Not much, Cheryl, because I don't know much about it. So to be honest, I don't know enough about them. All I can tell you is I don't know. So you know more about rainbow tribes than I do. I've never heard of rainbow tribes, but I just know. It's funny. This weekend I was looking at a book that said "Starseed, Know Your Starseeds," and it's pretty interesting. So I do believe in extraterrestrials. I think we're all extraterrestrials. I don't think they're there. I think we're all part of a different like starseed or something. I remember the only experience I had with that was a couple of them. I was in development circle, and in the development circle several times. I had beings come through, and they were we'd call them extraterrestrial, but they're high-minded beings, way different galactic beings, I call them. And I had that twice, maybe 3 times. And let's say get reading Shirley MacLaine, and I had a whole bunch of them come in because she's pretty accelerated in her spirituality, and she knew exactly what the beings they were talking about because she had communicated with them before. So I think they're all around us. They're part of us. We are part of that. We might call ourselves extraterrestrials. My experience in Sedona, Arizona, once I had was I went there, and they came in the middle of the night. They came to me in a meditative state, and they said, "We are from the Pleiades, and we don't understand one thing. You human beings have love all around you, yet you don't use it. Why is that?" And that's what they said. So that teaches a lot. See, life is so simple, but human beings make it complex. They get caught up in the complexity of the simplicity. So, okay, let's see. Marie, James, is it possible to be going through a life with you while you're still alive? Because that's what's happening with me for months now. Okay, let's reread that, shall we? James, is it possible to be going through a life with you while you are still alive? Because that's what's happening with me for months now. So what I've been doing is just to give me people involved in myself. Marie, I don't understand the question, so you'd have to phrase it again. I'm sorry, I don't understand it. Okay. Martha May says, "Guide surprised me." Hi, Jane. Okay. Guide surprised me. Okay, let's read it. Thank you. Received in a park one beautiful peacock feather. Yes. There and then I had 2 peacock feathers in my bag. Isn't it amazing? Only collected their one, but there were 2 beautiful, stunning feathers in there. So grateful to be for me. Love feather sports and nature surrounding me. Guides read my thoughts, peace. Always, your guides walk with you hand in hand, and always around you, and always. And also, I wonder how often the spirit world is around you, all of you, and you don't see them because you're not open to it. So if you enter the day open and surrendering to whatever happens and just being mindful, aware, the spirit will take your mind and make you aware of a certain thing, a bird, a feather, a flower. They come in all different ways. And if you have an open mind and you have the art of discovery, you'll discover the signs that they give us every day. So that's a matter of again surrendering. So I'm going to talk about tonight. I have a show tonight. There you go. And it's all about dreams. So the number one way spirit comes through to us is in our dream state. And I had some wild dreams last night, and I'm going to share those with you. So Kelly White and I are going to talk all about dreams and the messages that come to dreams, how spirit comes through as a possible communicate in dreams, how you can connect with them in your dream state, how you can be aware of them, how you have this live in that dream world, because we leave our bodies every night and we go to the spiritual levels with our loved ones. And they come and get us. It's hand in hand, and we go on to the other side. In the morning, we come back. And I know when I'm teaching a class that I tell my class, I'm just not leaving you here physically. Together, we'll be together tonight, and the astral world will be together. That's true. They come us. So please join me tonight for Both Sides Now and Beyond with Kelly White, a great meditation medium and great therapist. So Kelly, love you, and we'll see you guys tonight, I hope. All right. Thank you, my friends. God bless. We'll see you.